A very warm welcome to all of learners in the MOOC of Energy Resources and Conversion Process. The module that we are going to discuss today is Biomass and Bioenergy. The learning outcome of this module is that after going through this module, we will be able to discuss what biomass is, what is bioenergy, the classification of bioenergy, various forms that are available, and we will give an overview of several conversion technologies. Biomass. What is biomass? Biomass is any organic matter. And what is organic matter? Which include biological things, that is trees, plants, plant fiber, animal waste, etc. It is a renewable energy source. Why it is renewable energy source? Because whatever we are using or utilizing, it will be replenished after the cultivation. The energy that is stored in biomass is known as bioenergy. It is a very versatile energy and could be used to provide heat. It could be used to generate fuels or produce fuels, and these fuels helps us in generation of electricity. For example, if we generate biogas, it could be used as transportation fuel and it could be used in generating electricity in power plants as well. Direct heating of biomass is very common. From the ancient days, we used to burn wood, burn the cakes made of cow dung, etc. in ancient villages. Nowadays also in some of the villages we are using direct conversion of this biomass as bioenergy for producing heat. As we had already discussed that this heat is a low grade energy and electricity is the high grade energy. So the bioenergy, that is the energy produced from biomass, is very versatile. It produces low grade energy as heat and goes to the high grade energy, that is electricity. Many bioenergy sources are replenished through the cultivation of fast growing grasses, trees and agricultural residues also. We use used vegetable oils and vegetable oils for the production of biodiesel, ethanol, etc. We use wheat straw, corn, bagasse and molasses for the production of ethanol, which is a very good fuel and is used in vehicles also. We use biogas as a transportation fuel as well. What are the various sources of this biomass? Every year, the agricultural industry produces millions of tons of waste that could be utilized for energy production. You are very much aware of the environmental effect of the parale in the north and northeastern areas. This agricultural residue is total waste, but it could be used for energy production. In addition to this, the forest product industries also produce countless tons of waste in the form of leaves. Dry leaves are shedded there, wood is there, and these can be used as an energy source. How we are going to use leaves and wood? Are we going to burn it, or we are going to burn it, or we are going to pick them and pulverize them, and then these small pieces are used to make pellets, and these pellets are used for the generation of gases. Then comes the energy crops such as willows and switchgrasses, which are also grown for the specific purpose of energy production. These willows, switchgrasses are the major chunks from where we are going to produce ethanol and methanol, etc. Now comes what are the benefits of this biomass. As we are discussing that we are going to produce this bioenergy from the waste. So if we are going to utilize waste, and that too for the production of energy, which we are using in every field, in every application, If we are going for the transportation sector, we use it. If we are going for the agricultural equipment, we use it. If we are going for the heating and domestic purpose, we are going to use energy. So if we are generating the energy from waste, it will be always beneficial. The burning of fossil fuels that we used to do earlier releases lot of carbon dioxide, which is captured by them through photosynthesis millions of years ago. What happens when we use this biomass? We also release lot of carbon dioxide. But what happens when we grow or cultivate the crops for this bioenergy or biomass? This carbon dioxide that is released during the consumption of biomass is balanced by the carbon dioxide that is captured in the recent growth of these crops and plants. So what happens? The net effect of carbon dioxide is neutral. This also results in a far less net impact on greenhouse gas levels, because as we know that carbon dioxide effects is majorly, and we are going to capture this carbon dioxide in recent growth of biomass. So what happens? The net less impact is very less. Then comes the waste that will normally go for the landfills, our domestic waste from the industries, etc., that are going for the landfills. They are also degrading our environment, and million tons of these waste that goes to landfills could be used for energy production. We could utilize this waste for the biogas production as well. Then it encourages the preservation of agricultural land that would otherwise be sold for the development. If you go to some village for spending your vacation, you will feel very fresh, very refreshing, very regenerating. But when you come to the cities like Delhi and all, you see that due to the commercialization, we are not having free space, and due to that there is lot of pollution. So we need to preserve the agricultural land for that purpose only. And if we will be able to generate energy as well from the waste that we are getting from the agriculture, the agricultural sector will also be explored more by the others. The farmers who are switching their profession of agriculture to the others and are coming to work as a labor in the bigger cities will definitely be encouraged if they will get the money for the waste also that is generated in the agricultural land, that is the residue of the crops, and is used for the energy production. So generation of bioenergy will definitely encourage the preservation of agricultural land that would otherwise be sold for development. It also encourages sustainable agricultural techniques for bioenergy crops. What is sustainable agricultural techniques? The sustainable agricultural techniques are that it not only leads to the yield of the crop, it also cater the interest in the production of bioenergy crops as well. For example, the plantation of jatropha, karanja and Swiss grass, willow, etc. are encouraged. Now everything, whatever we are using here, whether it is solar energy, it is wind energy, everything has some limitations. Biomass too has some limitation. What are these? As it is used for rural domestic energy requirements, cooking and water heating generally, the cooking energy requirements are also met from cattle dung, leaf biomass, from energy plantations and crop residues. What we do? We generally directly burn this biomass, and when we burn this, there is lot of ash, and apart from this ash there is lot of carbon dioxide and smoke, which is very harmful for us. In comparison to the fossil fuels, fresh biomass has high moisture content as well. It reduces its combustion efficiency. What does it mean? When we are going to burn some fuel, the energy that we are getting is in terms of heat generally. So we measure it that how much quantity of fuel we have burnt in kg obviously, and how much heat we are getting, or from this we calculate or determine the combustion efficiency. What happens when there is some moisture content? The combustion efficiency reduces. If you have been to the villages and have burnt something, wood or coal, you must have seen that when we used to pick wood for burning purpose, we used to have dry woods. Why we use dry wood? Because they are having low moisture content, so it increases its combustion efficiency. If the wood is wet or the cow dung cakes are wet, will they be burnt easily? Certainly no. So what we use dry objects for burning as fuel. So this high moisture content reduces the combustion efficiency, and it is quite obvious that biomass which are fresh have more moisture content than coal or any petroleum based fuel generally have no moisture content, so it reduces the combustion efficiency. The bulk density of these biomass is also low, and lack of a homogeneous physical form. What is homogeneous physical form? Equal. The particle size is equal. And what happens in biomass? We are getting leaves are dried. After drying, is the shape and size of all the leaves are equal? No. If we are going to pulverize it, will they be in the homogeneous physical form? No. So there is a lack of homogeneity in physical form as well. Then the biomass conversion processes. There are many processes for converting these biomass. What happens, we had already discussed in our previous modules that when we are going for the conversion processes or conversion technologies, we have to follow certain processes. This could be a one-stage process which we call as direct conversion process, and we also used to go for the multiple processes which are known as multi-stage conversion processes. What happens when we go for the direct conversion of anything? The efficiency is more, because the efficiency of that single process will only matter. So when we go for the direct conversion process, the efficiency is more, and when we are going for the multi-stage processes, what happens, in every stage there is some loss, so the net efficiency will be decreased. So but here in case of biomass conversion processes, the multi-stage conversion processes are sometimes better because they give a better quality of fuel. So there are three processes mainly for this biomass conversion process. First is for the direct combustion. We use direct conversion, that is direct combustion. In this, physical processes are involved, and this would be done for all the processes. In this physical process, we used to reduce the particle size. We just cut it into small pieces, then separate them. Whatever size we require are separated. Then we used to dry it, and then we used to fabricate it accordingly. The next process is biological process. It is obviously anaerobic digestion and fermentation. Two processes we are mainly using. Then comes the thermochemical process. In this, thermo means production of heat from which chemical process. And we had already discussed that anything that is biomass has some chemical reaction. So thermochemical processes are combustion, pyrolysis and gasification. Then comes the classification of these biomass or bioenergy. So we have three kinds of bioenergy or biomasses. One is solid, then liquid, and then gases. Solid biomass is used for generally direct combustion, and then comes the liquid. These are also known as liquid biofuels, and these are used for heating, these are used in transportation, and these are used in generation of electricity as well. Some of the liquid biofuels are methanol, ethanol, biodiesel, and butanol. Ethanol is also known as ethyl alcohol, and it is made from the starch and is produced from the biomass such as wheat or corn also in America, etc. Once we ground it, the starch or cellulose is converted into sugar. The detailed process we will discuss in the next module. Then comes the biodiesel. Biodiesel is a domestically produced renewable fuel, and it can be made from vegetable oils, animal fats, or recycled restaurant greases. Nowadays we are using biodiesel in transportation sector as well, with little or no modifications in the engines. What does blending means? It means we used to take some percentage of biodiesel and mix it with certain percentage of petroleum diesel. All these fuels will be discussed separately in the module biofuels in transportation sector. Then comes the gaseous form of this biomass, and what we get is the biogas that we have already seen in the villages and all. The biogas is produced through anaerobic digestion process, and it is a biological process in which biodegradable organic materials are decomposed in the absence of oxygen to produce methane and carbon dioxide. The rate and favorable conditions for each anaerobic digestion step play an important role in improving or governing the digester performance. We will discuss these things separately in our module production of biogas. We use mixing for this, and it is important to maintain an uniform environment. Thus, it will affect the digester performance that needs to be evaluated. Generally, we use covered lagoon digesters, which are the most popular ones. However, their operation depends on the climatic condition and have very low performance. The failure rate is also very high, up to 70% in complete mix and plug flow digesters. But what is the reason for the failure of these anaerobic digesters are still not understood. Improper or insufficient mixing could be one of the reasons. Despite of anaerobic digestion being a slow reaction, mixing plays an important role in it. It enhances microorganism and substrate contract and distribution. It ensures uniform pH value and temperature throughout. It prevents decomposition of denser solids at the bottom and flotation of lighter solids at the top. It helps to release biogas bubbles. The information available on mixing is contradictory, thus extent of mixing in digesters is not understood properly. More reliable information of impact of mixing on digester performance can be obtained by systematic and carefully planned experiments. It is important to maintain an uniform environment, thus effect of mixing on digester performance needs to be evaluated. The different types of biogas plants use different types of digesters and digestion method. The batch sizes is also different for them. We will discuss this separately in our module on biogas. In liquid fuels, we also use bio-oils that are produced from pyrolysis process. They are bio-oil, bio-crude for short, and bio-oil is obtained through condensation of hot peppers, which are hydrocarbons. These include the biomass in the form of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. Bio-oil has a smoky odor and it is highly viscous, acidic, and dark brown in color. Product of thermodynamic equilibrium during pyrolysis, but is produced with short residence time of the reactor and rapid cooling or quenching from the pyrolysis temperature. What are the properties of these fuels. In particularly the case of bio-oil, the pH value measures the acidity of derived oil and therefore indicates the corrosiveness of the bio-oil. The pH value is important for all the liquid fuels and gaseous fuels. Biomass derived oils are known to be highly acidic. The unusual aspect of bio-oils is their carboxylic acidic content. Then comes the flash point. It is a measure of the liquid temperature necessary for vapors above a pool of the fuel to ignite by passing a flame through the vapors. This is also a measure of volatility of the oil as well as its ease of ignition. The higher this number, the safer the oil is to handle because the risk of accidental vapor ignition is reduced. Pyrolysis oil often has a reported flash point of between 50 degrees centigrade and is over 100 degrees centigrade, reflecting a wide variation in the content of volatility. Then comes the power point. It is the lowest temperature at which the liquid is observed to flow under prescribed conditions. This parameter is an indication of the minimum temperature at which the oil can be pumped without heating the storage tank. The typical values for the power points are in the range of -20 to -28 degrees centigrade. Moisture content. As we have discussed that moisture content decreases the heating value and combustion efficiency and it creates problems during combustion. Moisture content of bio-oil particularly is in the range of 3 to 13.8%. Ash content. It is the incombustible material which remains when fuel is burnt. Ash is detrimental in combustion process in which it lowers the calorific value of the fuel. Generally, in liquid and gaseous fuels, this is not available. Excess amounts of ash can cause high wear in pumps and injectors and lead to deposits in combustion equipment as well. Then comes the density. The density of the oil is a measure of its aromaticity in hydrocarbon oils but not in biomass derived oils. It is a necessary parameter used to calculate the volumetric output of pumps and injectors needed to supply a given rate of delivered energy. The density of the oxygenated bio-oils is much higher, that is in the range of 150 to 1300 kg per meter cube than petroleum derived hydrocarbon oils. Unlike hydrocarbon oils, the higher density of bio-oil refers to the high oxygen content. The pyrolysis liquid density varies with time, temperature and water content. The bio-oil having relatively higher densities typically have lower water contents. Wood-derived pyrolysis liquid has density of typically 1200 kg per meter cube for a water content of 25% to 20 degrees centigrade. Viscosity. It is very important property for an oil since it affects the flow of the liquid through pipelines. The lower the viscosity of the oil, the easier it is to pump and to atomize and achieve the fine droplets. The pyrolytic liquid viscosity is highly variable and one liquid to another depending on the water content, production conditions and whether it is the whole pyrolysis liquid or a recovered fraction. This is the major criteria upon which the oils are graded. The density of the biodiesel is nearly equivalent to that of petroleum diesel. It is not less than diesel, but it is in the range of that. Then comes the calorific value. The gross calorific value is a measure of the quantity of heat released in total combustion and therefore measures the energy content of a fuel. The lower heating value is calculated from the gross calorific value, knowing the hydrogen content in the fields. calorific value of bio oil is in the range of 16.8 to 13.18 megajoule per kg, and the calorific value of biodiesel is in the range of 35 megajoule per kg to 42 megajoule per kg. We have discussed the biomass, bioenergy, classification of biomass and bioenergy, liquid, gaseous and solid biomass that are converted into the bioenergy, that is liquid fuels and gaseous fuels. We have given an overview as well of the various conversion processes that are involved in the conversion of biomass into bioenergy. We have discussed a bit of liquid fuels such as ethanol, biodiesel and pyrolysis oil. The ethanol and biodiesel which are used in the transportation sector as well will be discussed in our next module. Thank you very much. ये एक बार पहले भी दिया था. Thank you very much.